Today is International Transgender Day of Visibility, a day for recognizing trans and non-binary people around the world. And it comes as the Trump administration rolls back protections for transgender Americans. The ACLU says it's tracking more than 500 anti-LGBTQ bills across the U.S. And for more on that, let's bring in co-director of the LGBTQ and HIV Rights Project at the ACLU, Chase Strangio, for more. Chase, thanks for coming on. Let's just start with the general. What do you think are the biggest threats facing trans people today?
I really think right now we're experiencing an existential threat to our survival. And the reason for that is because we have, as you noted, hundreds upon hundreds of bills targeting trans people in state legislatures. And then you have a Trump administration that on day one declared that it is the policy of the federal government that trans people do not exist. And that has followed with executive order after executive order directing federal agencies to limit protections for transgender people across all areas of life. So this really is a moment when we're asking, can we survive this? And that means we need everyone to fight alongside us.
Last year, you became the first openly transgender lawyer to argue before the Supreme Court, fighting against a Tennessee law banning gender-affirming care for minors. What was it like being in that courtroom? And what are you watching out for now as you wait for the Supreme Court's ruling on that?
Yeah, there is obviously something that feels incredibly surreal to walk into the Supreme Court and know that this is the place where so much law is made that impacts every single one of our lives. And the most important thing for me that day was to do right by my clients, to make sure the justices understood the severe impact of laws that ban medical care that adolescents need, that their parents are consenting to for them, and that their doctors are recommending. And now we're waiting for a decision in June. And I think what people need to understand is, yes, this is a decision about whether and to what extent the Constitution protects trans people, but this is going to be a decision that impacts all of us because we are in a time when we need constitutional rights. We need individual rights protected under the Constitution, and that is what this court is going to tell us in the decision in U.S. versus Scrimeti.
I know the ACLU is participating in various legal fights across the country related to trans rights. Do any cases in particular stick out to you, or are you noticing any trends among those cases?
I think what's important right now is that we're fighting back against the Trump administration's many attacks on trans people, like we are at the ACLU against his attacks on immigrants, against his attack on people of color. And the common denominator in the fight right now is that the courts are recognizing that President Trump is exceeding his authority as president when he is trying to undermine the role of Congress, undermine the role of the courts, and that there are circumscribed limits to president's authority under the Constitution. And the president can't dictate policy based on his policy preferences and override the will of Congress, override the orders of the courts. And so that is what we are seeing consistently in judicial decisions. And we are going to keep defending the rights of people to have access to their health care, to have access to identification, to not be stripped of their ability to learn about their history in schools.
All right, co-director of the LGBTQ and HIV Rights Project at the ACLU, Chase Strangio. We appreciate you coming in, Chase. Thank you.
Thanks.